welcome back to Reads and Threads. My name's Kate. Hello if you're new here, welcome back if you're joining us again. This video is going to be part 2 of my Aussie April wrap up / vlog. We're going to kick off the end of April in this one, so from about, I think it was just before Easter, the end of the month, we actually move into a little bit of May when I talk about my last book that I managed to get read. And then at the end, we'll go through some of the stats overall. So I hope you like this one. It is a very different style for my wrap up. I'm not entirely sure I will do it this way again, but let's get into it. Hi, so this won't be a hugely long update. I was just about to head off to bed. It's been a pretty long day, but I realized as I was thinking about actually reading my book that I hadn't given you an update on what I am reading. I did start The Wrong Girl by CJ Archer. This is my first CJ Archer book that I have read, and I am finding it very easy at the moment to get through her writing. So it's a very easy read. All right, I'm gonna read you the synopsis of the book. It's customary for Gothic romance novels to include a mysterious girl locked in the attic. Hannah Smith just wishes she wasn't that girl. As a narcoleptic and the companion of the Earl's daughter, with a strange affliction of her own, Hannah knows she's lucky to have a roof over her head and food in her belly, when so many orphans starve on the streets. Yet freedom is something Hannah longs for. She did not, however, want her freedom to arrive in the form of kidnapping. Taken by handsome Jack Langley to a place known as Freak House, she finds herself under the same roof as a mad scientist, his niece, a mute servant, and Jack, a fire starter with a mysterious past. They assure Hannah she is not a prisoner and that they want to help her. The problem is, they think she's the Earl's daughter. What will they do when they discover they took the wrong girl? And it is quite good at the moment. I am enjoying it. It's very easy to read. I am finding it very quick to get through. I am only 24% in, just mainly because I haven't been reading a huge amount at night. I've been playing a fair bit of Disney Dreamlight Valley on my Switch and doing a puzzle that I have out in my dining room. And that's just taken up a bit more of my time. It is quite good so far. So we've got to the point where Hannah has been kidnapped and she has been taken to, they call it like slang Freak House, but it's actually Freckingham House, I think. And like it said in the synopsis, she's mistaken for the daughter of an earl who is actually a fire starter. So she has taken on Lady Violet. So they're calling her Violet. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what they're going to do when they find out that she isn't who they think she is. She's got to pretend that she has this ability because they are saying that they can train her. And the uncle of these two people that have kidnapped her, so the uncle, and there's a woman and a man, Jack. He's not like an aristocrat, that kind of thing. He is a scientist who, I think he was a biochemist or something. So he actually invented some kind of pharmaceutical drug that he sold, apparently, according to the niece. She's told us that. And then ended up making enough money that he was able to purchase Freckingham House. And he is actually wheelchair bound. So he has rooms on this one level, doesn't move, but he seems to, from what I've read so far, have an extremely bad temper. Though they are all scared of Jack, who is the other fire starter. And they have decided that they are going to be able to train Violet. And that's pretty much where I've got up to. Hannah has attempted escape once so far and been caught by the mute butler and servant and taken back, and then has now made a deal with Jack that she will stay until Christmas, so about 5 weeks. I assume we're just going to get into her trying to figure out how she's going to hide the fact that she's not Violet and hope for the best. I'm enjoying it. I don't know why I wasn't, because looking at the cover, I can see it's a historical setting. I don't know why in my head I still had that it wouldn't be. Anyway, it's fine. I don't mind an historical setting. I am quite enjoying it. I am not enjoying it as much as the other book that I'm currently reading. It's definitely not put me off the other 4 of her series that I have on my spinner wheel at the moment and on my want to read list. Glad that I have found one that I actually am so far really enjoying the writing style of, and I will continue to give you updates. I don't know, we might just aim for 75-ish%. Maybe we'll see if anything actually comes up in this one. The other book that I am currently reading is A Layer of Bones by Helen Shearer, and I am absolutely loving it. This is my first Helen Shearer book, and even today I was selling it to a couple of friends at work. It's not the series that I have actually heard anything about, and it's a series where we're following a group of sirens, and her world building is just amazing. I am eating it up. It's so good. I'm about 6 hours into the audio, so I am listening to this one, though I really do want to look into purchasing physical copies of these. Whether I do get the rest of them on my iPad as well, so I can jump backwards and forwards between the audio and ebook. I do quite like doing that, and then I can just eat up the story wherever I am. So we are following Ro, and she is technically considered like an orphan, though her mother is still alive. She's just being kept prisoner because she killed all the elders of the sirens. Ro has grown up knowing that her mother was a criminal. They have to wear like a gold band circlet around their forehead to tell everyone else in their society that they're the child of a criminal. And so she's always been kind of ostracized. She's one of the lowborn. She doesn't have a surname. She was a bone cleaner. But I think it was 100 or 500 years, they have what they call a Queen's contest to decide who could possibly become the next ruler. And the current Queen has actually been ruling for at least 500 years, I think it was, which is unusual for their race. She's extremely long-lived, this queen, and seems quite loved. The next contest time has come up. No one has ever won this contest in previous years, so you do either get very seriously hurt or die. And one of the characters that we have just been introduced did compete in the last set of games and did nearly die. Obviously there was no winner because otherwise the Queen would have had to have stepped down. And there is something going on between, I think, the Queen and Ro's mother. Within this setup as well, there is a series of tests that they have to do. There's at least 3, and a new little caveat of these games pretty much is that they have captured all these humans, and each contestant has to keep this human alive and unharmed through the entirety of these contests. And so Ro has been given a human called Odie, and she is able to communicate with him. So generally they have their own language, but they do also know the common tongue. She, though frustrated and not wanting to have to deal with the fact that she has this human that she has to look after, I think is actually starting to come around to him pretty quickly that he is going to be helpful to her, and she can learn a lot from him. I think there is definitely a lot of secrets in her past. She doesn't know why her mother did what she did, and has only ever seen her mother pretty much mad. Like, she sits in her cell. She's been in her cell, Ro doesn't know how long for, but every time she sees her, she's completely out of it. She doesn't really communicate with her daughter. So Ro has never really got any answers. She also has 2 very close friends that were also bone cleaners, and they had made an agreement that they were all going to try out for these games when they did come up, and that they would be happy for the other, like whichever one of the 3 got in. And It's so good. It's all set under the water. You do have some human interaction, but not much. But just the way that she's described the land and putting together all of the intricacies of the Sirens' court, how they interact, like their love of music and their death songs. It's so well done. And she is hopefully going to become one of my favorite authors. The series itself is Curse of the Siren Queen, and this is book 1, and this is a quartet, so there's 4 books. And I think I did, when I was looking up her website today, find out that there might be a prequel little novella as well. But from the one line that I read, I think I'm gonna wait to read that afterwards, because it looks like it's set about current queen and possibly Rose's mother. I don't really want to have any possibility of any kind of spoiler to what is going to happen in the current quartet. So I think I'm going to wait and read that one after, and then go back and find out what happened to Rose's mum afterwards. If it continues how it is at the moment, I think it's definitely going to be a new 5-star read for me. And it's just really making me excited and eager to continue on and get to the next books in the series and her other series as well. So I'm so glad that I heard about Helen Shearer while on BookTube from other creators on here. She's just been great so far, and I just really can't wait to listen to more tomorrow when I go to work, or even just putting it on around the house. Anyway, I will give you another update on both reads as I get a bit further into them, but hope that whatever you're reading at the moment is going just as well. Hello. Okay, so it is Saturday morning at the moment. We have hit the Easter long weekend here, which I am absolutely loving because I needed a break so bad. I had a fair few friends over yesterday, and we had a whole afternoon crafting and hanging out together, which was lovely. I am super close to finishing my TBR game that I have been creating, Reach the Castle. Hoping to get that done today would be awesome, because I really want to play it this weekend. The other thing I thought I would give you an update, I have reached 75% of A Layer of Bones by Helen Shearer, and I am absolutely loving it. I do think that this may be a 5-star read. I am really enjoying it. I haven't wanted to not listen to it, so I think I'm going to maybe finish it off today. Ro and Odie have been working together to complete the Queen's trials, and we've just had some epic plot twists revealed, which have thrown Ro and Odie for a loop. And so now we're just seeing how she's going to deal with what has just happened within her future within the tournament, which is very interesting. And I'm really intrigued to see what happens. Helen's writing great. I'm really enjoying it. The audio has done so well. I don't want to tell you too much, don't want to give it away, but I'm loving the development of the story and plot. The characters is very interesting. We're seeing a bit more of her kind of mentor, guardian, teacher come into it a little bit every now and then. When she is struggling, she's reverting back unintentionally to him. She doesn't think that they have a huge connection, yet she is gravitating towards his advice and realizing that. And I just think that's really sweet. Yeah, I think this world has been done amazingly. I have never, like I said, read a siren book, I don't think, and I'm really enjoying it. If you haven't picked this series up, so maybe you've read the Legends of Thesma and not her earlier work, it is a really good read. I think this one is considered YA. I think Ro is maybe 17 or 18 possibly. She's young for a siren, but not super young. And the trials and the interactions with the Queen and the rest of the court is really interesting, and it's such a new, different world that you don't see much about, that I've found anyway, in a lot of fantasy novels. So it is really enjoyable. I would definitely recommend. I think I only have, if I look at my reading percentage, not that much left of The Wrong Girl either. So I have purchased this month Kobo Libre Colour, and I am reading The Wrong Girl on here, and I am really enjoying the Kobo. I think it's been lots of fun, but it tells me the time I have left on my book, which is interesting. So it's saying I've got, I think it was 3 hours left of The Wrong Girl, so I'll probably finish that this weekend as well. That one, it's average. It's okay. It's a solid 3-star probably. It's not interesting, but I'm also not that eager to pick it up. Like, I'm reading it, but I don't really want to read it. It is written well, finding out that, or Violet's finding out that a lot of Violet/Hannah actually is finding out that there's definitely something going on with Jack, one of her kidnappers. He seems to come from an extremely poor area in London, the slums, and he definitely has some secrets, and she doesn't believe, she's kind of thinking that he's being duped by Lord Langley, whereas I think they're all in on it. They're very much aware of what is going on. I don't think she can trust him, but she has met a hypnotist in London that is telling her some interesting stuff about herself that it is intriguing now. So I am interested to see what's going to happen with her, because she does have narcolepsy. So she's constantly falling asleep, doesn't know where that's come from. And so I find that interesting, whether like they're going into that side a bit, what has caused her narcolepsy, that kind of thing. I am intrigued by why that is happening. So it's not that I'm not enjoying it. I'm just, because I'm reading it, I think against the Layer of Bones, that is just so much better that it is maybe just getting overshadowed. Although even reading that on my own, I don't know that it's necessarily, like I said, it's written fine, the story is fine, but it is just all fine. It's nothing epic. Like a nice easy read, but not one that necessarily makes me want to, at this stage, move really quickly on to the next one. Hello everyone, happy Easter. It is currently Easter Sunday here. I had a morning of egg hunts and chocolate, which was great. I did just finish my latest read, Layer of Bones by Helen Shurer, and absolutely loved it. I wanted to come in and give you my thoughts on that. And then we will use the spinner wheel and pick our next read, which will be great. I'm so tempted to just keep reading and go on to the next one. However, I won't. I'm going to pop that in my want to read list, and we'll stick with trying out some new Aussie reads that we haven't gotten to yet. Layer of Bones though, I really liked it. The audio was really well done. I really liked Rose as a character, and I liked her interactions with Odie and the other sirens. I liked all the trials. I just liked the whole thing. It's such a new and different world to what I'm used to. Like, I've never read a siren book. I think I've said that previously. And I just really enjoyed it. Helen Shurer's writing was great. It grabbed me straight at the beginning. So I'm really looking forward to trying some of her other things as well, especially Legends of Thesma, which I know lots of people have absolutely loved. But I also realized she has another series as well, which I don't currently have on my spinner wheel, but I need to look into it a little bit more, but we'll probably be definitely adding that to my want to read pile as well. I just think it's a really good read. It is YA. There isn't really a romance in it at all, so it doesn't have that set up. She's never really had any interactions with the humans before. Being a lowborn, she pretty much spent her whole time cleaning bones, which were then used in the creation of their world. Their lair is made up of creations made out of bones. And so it's been really interesting. I really liked the way the trials went, the realizations that she's coming to, and there's still so much that she doesn't know. I'm also interested to see what's going to happen with her and her two closest friends. Given what's happened in this book, what's going to happen with their relationship, I think that will be interesting to see how that's going to play out. And then I am really eager. There is 3 or 4 prequel novel, like little novellas to this series that I signed up for Helen Shurer's newsletter and got access to those books free from her website. So I am interested to get to those. And at the end of this audio, there was a little novella attached to the end, which is set beforehand, but I don't want to have the possibility of ruining myself for any of the first 4 books. So I think I'm going to wait and go back and read those after I finish the main series, and then find out about the history of the Queen and possibly Maria's mum, all of that kind of historical stuff that they reference a little bit, but you don't know, and Ro doesn't know. So I kind of want to find out what she finds out first, and then go back and find out what Helen's willing to share just about their story and read their story. So awesome read. If you haven't picked up Layer of Bones, but you have either read some of her other stuff or just haven't tried her at all, I think it's a really good one to start with. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. I ended up purchasing using one of my credits and getting the audio on Audible. It was really good. And you can buy the paperback if you'd rather a physical copy through Amazon as well. I think when I went to her website, it linked me to Amazon. Hopefully some of her other books are getting traditionally published now. These ones are all self-published. I think they are going to be re-releasing in traditional format next year, though, the Legends of Thesma series and her newest series, Iron and Embers, I can't remember the series title, that is being traditionally published now, so it's everywhere. But if you haven't checked her out, I definitely think you should. Give it a go. Give Layer of Bones a go. I had a really great time with it and I really enjoyed it, and have now recommended her to a fair few of my friends as well as one of my sisters so far. Just check it out. Okay, so after a bit of hunting around, I did locate 2 options that will work for my buzzword challenge this month, and they are White Tiger by Carly Chan. Sorry about the noise, it's just started pouring with rain, so if you can hear that in the background, I apologize. And then the second book is called Dragon War by Miriam Hogan. I've seen the Carly Chan book around before, but I've never heard of Miriam Hogan's stuff. But a couple of her books, I think it's at least a 5-part series, came up, and I was a little bit confused as to which one was the starting one, but I'm pretty sure it's Dragon War, and that one was available on Kindle Unlimited. And then White Tiger I do have access to via Libby from the library, so hopefully one of them does come up because I need a buzzword book. So I'm just going to save that update, and hopefully now they are on the spin wheel, which they are. So this is where we're sitting at the moment. So I am going to screen record this and let's spin and see what we get next. So we've got Thief's Magic by Trudy Canavan. So not one of the buzzword ones we needed, but also really enjoyed the Trudy Canavan that I have tried in the past. So looking forward to doing that one. For now, we're going to leave it at that. I am nearly finished The Wrong Girl, so it's possible that we can spin another one, maybe even tomorrow. We'll see how I go finishing that off this weekend. But for now, we're going to get The Thief's Magic by Trudy Canavan and see how we go with that one. So Thief's Magic was a bust. I actually thought that I owned it, but it turns out I don't. And I can't find it currently on any of the online versions of anything that I have. So let's spin again, see if we can find something else to read and give it a go. I'm going to start screen recording my iPad again and we'll see how we go. Okay, not what I was thinking we would get, but we got A Shadow on the Glass by Ian Irvine, which is a chunky one. I do own that physically. Is it right behind me? Yes. Let me just grab it out and I will read you the back, and I guess that's our next read. Okay, so this is A Shadow on the Glass by Ian Irvine. I have had this on my shelves for years. I think I bought this, we're probably talking early 2000s maybe. I think it was published in 1998, so it is even possible that I've had it on my shelf since then. Yeah, Yeah, first published by Penguin Books Australia in 1998. So it is possible I bought it when it came out. It has been a while. I have maybe tried to start reading it once, but vague memories, not entirely sure. But I'll read you the synopsis on the back and we'll go from there. So, once there were 3 worlds, each with their own human species. Then, fleeing out of the void came a 4th species, the Charon. Desperate on the edge of extinction, they changed the balance between the worlds forever. Quran, a sensitive with a troubled heritage, is forced to steal an ancient relic, but it turns out to be the mirror of Ashan, a twisted, deceitful thing that remembers everything that it has ever seen. At the same time, Lian, a brilliant chronicler, is expelled from his college for uncovering a perilous mystery. Thrown together by fate, Karen and Lian are hunted across a world at war, for the mirror contains a secret that offers each species survival or extinction. Well, it sounds right up my alley, and sorry my words weren't wording when I was reading that. I'm hoping that I have a version that's not this paperback. Either way, if I have to, I will read it physically. This used to be my favourite format, a very small paperback. But when it gets this chunky, this is 572 pages, they just get really hard to hold, especially when you're getting near the end. But hopefully I can find another version of it somewhere. I would give it a go. I should have probably given it a go years ago, and the whole point was getting to some of the books that I've had on my shelves that I haven't read for a while, as well as trying out new Australian authors. Hello. Okay, so it's been a while. I can't remember the last time we spun or I updated you, but I have got through a few things and DNF'd a few more. I think the last time I was just finishing up, or I just finished A Layer of Bones, and I did a spin and I got A Shadow on the Glass. And I was also added 2 books that I thought would work with the April Buzzword Challenge prompt. Because it was getting closer to the end of the month, I didn't end up spinning for the Buzzword book. I just decided to try and start another one. The only one when I did a fair bit of research that I could find that I could get was Kylie Chan's White Tiger. And I thought I can do this. I've seen around a lot. I knew it was the beginning of a series, so I picked this one up. So I was listening to it originally on audio. In this, our main character that we're following is Australian. She is pretty much a nanny. Her name is Emma. Sorry, I was just reading the back because I can't remember. Her name's Emma. She is living in Hong Kong and working at the beginning in a kindergarten kind of thing, teaching English, and then one-on-one for a little girl who, again, she's teaching English. In the end, she gets so frustrated with her employer that she decides to quit. So then needs a job. Her single client, when he finds out that she has quit her other position, offers her like pretty much a full-time nanny / teacher role for his daughter. And she agrees to do that. It's a living contract, all that kind of stuff, really good money. And so she agrees to do that, but there are certain things that he can't tell her about himself. And one of those is his job. She realizes that the driver is actually the bodyguard, and she doesn't fully know what has happened to this little girl's mother. So the bodyguard / driver pretty much says, and so does the employer, once you've been working here for a while and we've gotten to know each other, I'll tell you what I do. At the moment, you're fine, you're all safe, you just got to follow these rules. In the end, they do get attacked a couple of times while they're out and about by these random people, and it's very weird. But she's pretty much told as well that a couple of students are going to come to this house and apartment, and what is his name? John Chen is going to be training them in martial arts, and they're not allowed to she's not allowed to talk to them. There's no point. They can't talk to her, and she agrees to all this. However, as soon as they get there, she starts trying to talk to them. And she was so annoying. And listening to the narrator, who had an Australian accent, made it even worse. I couldn't do it. I got to, I think, chapter 8. Yeah, which is page 82. And she was driving me so insane that I just couldn't read anymore. And even for buzzword, I just I can't do it. And if that is seriously how Australians are portrayed overseas, if we're that annoying, no, I can't. I really hope that we're not that annoying. But yeah, and that is a huge generalization, I know that. But oh my God. And the style of Kylie Chan's writing, I just think is not for me. It was like she was writing for a child. The sentence structure, the way that they were communicating, it didn't work. And I know that we're dealing with another culture speaking in English, and so you can sometimes get some of that very abrupt dialogue as the translations don't work out overly as well as you expect if you were just generally talking. But it just made the adults sound like they were 10. And I don't know, no, I couldn't keep going. It was too frustrating. So I did put that one down, which left me in a bit of a pickle because I'd already DNF'd Tower of Ravens. I'd now DNF'd White Tiger, and I had no book. And because it was Aussie April, I wanted it to be an Australian book, and it obviously needed to have a animal in the title. So I ended up putting out on our kind of readers advisory channel, does anyone have any suggestions? Because from what I looked for, I couldn't figure it out. And I also didn't know if like a mythical animal would even count for Buzzwordathon. So for the other book that I had found, I wasn't entirely sure I could use it. In the end, I had 2 people at work pretty much tell me that I needed to read Dark Emu by Bruce Pascoe. It was only a 5-hour audio. It was a quick read. I listened to it at work over a day. So on the back it says, Pascoe puts forward a compelling argument for a reconsideration of the hunter-gatherer label for pre-colonial Aboriginal Australians. The evidence insists that Aboriginal people right across the continent were using domesticated plants, sowing, harvesting, irrigating and storing behaviours inconsistent with the hunter-gatherer tag. It was a non-fiction. I don't usually read non-fiction, though it is interesting, and if you are studying this, I think it would probably be a great book. I wasn't overly interested in the topic. It has been highly considered. I mean, look at all the awards. It has won a huge amount, and I remember it being massive. I didn't mind listening to it. Bruce Pascoe narrated the audio, and it was quite an easy listen. I'm not going to rate this, mainly because it really is a non-fiction. I think the only other non-fiction that I ever read are biographies. I don't do non-fiction generally at all. And I don't know that it's something that I necessarily want to be rating because there won't be more of it. It fit the prompt. It was a quick read, and that was what I was going for. So it did succeed in that. It definitely gives you stuff to think about. So if this is an interest of yours, definitely pick this up and have a listen, have a read. There is a young reader's version as well. The next book that we're going to talk about. So I have had Ian Irvine on my shelf for an extremely long time, to the point I think I own like 10 of his books now. One is A Shadow on the Glass, which was our last spin wheel pick that came up, and I was really expecting to like this one. I am currently at the beginning of chapter 9. I'm 112 pages in, and I don't care. I don't know that his writing style is for me. I'm not really gelling with the world building. I am struggling to understand some of the concepts, and also he's moving backwards and forwards into memories all the time. So we're pretty much following 2 main characters for the most part, and I'm going to butcher their names. So Karan is a sensitive. She has the ability to merge with other people, feel their feelings, project, that kind of stuff. And then I tried to Google this to find out how you pronounce it, but it's Lion, maybe Lian. He is pretty much trying to become a bard or a master teller, so of all their ancient stories and that kind of stuff. They do interact at the beginning. She has gone to listen to him do his graduation telling for the college. She's not meant to be there. It's a closed telling. He becomes a master teller at this telling. However, the proof that he has for the story that he has written is taken by the kind of headmaster, I guess, of the college, because if it's true, it would ruin the college. He takes the proof, hides it away, and then pretty much is bullying Leon into agreeing never to tell the story again, ever. There is another character that enters called Margaith, and she pretty much saved Karen's life at one point, and so Karen owes her a life debt. So she gets her to join her in a quest to steal a mirror from a big bad general kind of character, and all of that has happened in the first 9 chapters, which I think some of it was a bit quick, and then in other points it was a bit slow, and it just wasn't flowing very well. And I think all of Ian Irvine's series are connected. I think it's an interconnected giant world, and I like a good epic fantasy. This one just isn't working for me, to the point where I think I'm actually going to unhaul all of the Ian Irvine that I do own. And I think because it's been on my shelf for so long and I've never really had any overwhelming interest or urge to pick it up, I think that probably says something. I never was like, oh yeah, I should really get to that one day, where I was just kind of happy having them sit on my shelf. And I do want to now not actually be buying as many in a series as I did with Ian Irvine, just from the fact that in the end has become a bit of a waste of money, considering I don't like him as an author. So he just hasn't worked out for me. So I will be DNFing this one. I also soft DNF'd Nevernight at the beginning of April, and I don't think I'll be going back to that one either. So this month has not been an overly successful month. I wasn't gelling with it. I don't have any urge to pick it back up. And I feel like maybe I am really missing something when it comes to Nevernight, that like so many people absolutely love it, and I don't understand why I'm not loving it. I'm finding the writing or the speech a little crude, like their interactions with everyone. I don't like, again, the footnotes and the jumping back in memory times at the beginning of the chapters. The audio wasn't working for me at all with that. I did try and pick it up yesterday and just see if I could read it physically. I didn't really, again, get very far into it. I started reading and I wasn't interested because we were in a kind of memory section. So at this stage, I think it's definitely a no. I'm not going to necessarily say that I'll never pick that one up again. I do own the book. I got that at a secondhand bookshop last month when I went for my bookshop tour. So for now, I will keep that one. I don't know if I will try it again, but for now, it is just a no. I'm sorry if the camera is refocusing all the time. It is probably my really bad lighting in this room, I would say, and it's struggling. Hopefully it's not too annoying. I don't know how to stop it. So as of this film clip, it is the 26th of April. So there's only a few days left of April, but I need another read. So I was considering just starting my May TBR, and then thought, depending on the size of the book, I probably could read one of our other Aussie April books. So I thought we could spin the spinner wheel again, see what we get. I'll give it a go. If I don't manage to finish it in April, I'll finish it off for the beginning of May. I'm going to screen record, which I nearly just forgot to do. And so I'll pop that up next to us and let's see what we get. So we got Trudy Canavan's The Ambassador's Mission, which is awesome. I think that is a series that I have owned for a fair while. I read her first trilogy years ago, and then that's the first in the next trilogy, which is really great. I think those ones are interconnected. I will have to have a little bit of a look into it. I'll grab the book. It's just above me up there, and we'll read the back and see what we're getting. This is the Ambassador's Mission. So this is the first book in the Traitor Spy trilogy, and it says on the back, half the thieves in the city are dead. Sinea, a black magician of Cryala, knows that she is needed to help hunt down the rogue magician killing them. But Sinea has problems of her own. Her son is the assistant to the new guild ambassador of Sha'aka, and will be in deadly danger when he sets foot on their ancient enemy's soil. As a black magician, however, her every action is watched. Any attempt to leave the city will result in her exile and lose her any chance of helping her friends or her son. So it sounds good. I'm pretty sure that they are the characters that were in the first one. I can't remember. It's been so long since I read High Lord and what are they? The Magician's Guild, the Novice, and the High Lord. But it's the Black Magician's trilogy, so I'm pretty sure it follows on. Hopefully I didn't need to have read The Magician's Apprentice before getting into this one, but we'll give this one a go and see if it makes any sense. This one is about 523 pages, so it might be a bit of a stretch for me to get it done, but we'll give it a go. Hopefully I can find an ebook version. I will give you an update in the next couple of days if I am enjoying this or not. Hello, I thought I would quickly pop in and give you my thoughts on the last book I am probably going to be reading in April, and that is The Ambassador's Mission by Trudy Kahneman. This was the last one that came up the other day in our spin wheel, with my attempt to have this finished by the end of April, which is tomorrow. So at the moment I am 33% through. I'm up to chapter 11. I don't have high hopes that I'm going to actually get this one finished, but I'm going to give it a good go. I've got the rest of today. I ended up having today off, so I've taken myself out for breakfast after I had a very early morning appointment this morning. So I did manage to get a little bit read this morning while I waited for another appointment I had today. But the rest of the day is just free for me to read. Now, I don't think I've given you any of my thoughts on this one yet. And when I compare it to what I was reading just before this, which was The Shadow and the Mirror, the writing style is so much easier to read. For me, I'm finding this one a lot easier to consume. I'm enjoying the storyline. This is actually only set about 20 to 30 years after the events of the Black Magician trilogy, which I thought it was going to be a bit longer than that. And I didn't realize that Sinea, who is the main character, the main female protagonist in the Black Magician series, would still be in this one, and in this one a fair bit. So it is a little unfortunate that it has been so long since I read that series, to the point where I don't actually remember much of what happened in there at all. One of our other main characters is, I'm going to get his name wrong, I think it's Lorcan. And he is actually, Lorcan. He is actually Sinea's son. So that's been quite interesting, watching him come to terms with kind of self-imposed need to prove himself. We also follow Daniel, who is a historian. So he is trying to uncover the history of both of the land, pretty much. So not only the magician's race of people, but the invaders from the previous series, and so just trying to fill in holes of their knowledge and what's happened. And so Lorcan has joined him and is helping him to try and do that, with the hopes as well of trying to figure out some form of magic that they have forgotten that would mean that they wouldn't have to have black magicians. And there is actually only 2 within the Magician's Guild that are black magicians, Sinea being one of them. And so he's hoping that he can find some ancient magic that would mean that they can do away with the need for black magicians at all. So that's fairly interesting at the moment. There is also links back to the underworld, the Thief Guild, which is where Sinea originally came from, an extremely poor area. And so we're seeing a lot of characters from the first trilogy, which, like I said, because it's been so long, I have forgotten who they all are, which is not great. Not to the point though that I've had to look it up. I feel like it's getting explained enough for me to be enjoying this, but I think overall my enjoyment of the series would probably have been increased if I had read it closer to the original trilogy. Overall though, I am really enjoying my time with this at the moment. I am hopeful that I will get it done by tomorrow, but it is still a good chunk of the book left, but we'll give it a go. So I'm hoping I will wrap this vlog video wrap up up with this book being finished. Okay, this is going to be the last check-in for Aussie April, because technically we're in May. The last book, I didn't give myself a huge amount of time to finish this one, and of course I didn't actually finish it in April, but a couple of days after was Trudy Canavan's The Ambassador's Mission. By the time we got to the 30th, I think I was at 300 pages. So more than halfway through, there was only about 125-ish left. But I just thought, because the majority had been in April and it was an Aussie April book, that I would just wrap it up in this video instead and include the 300 pages at least in my page count for April. This one, I think I said in a previous update for this, it probably would have been better if I had been reading this closer to the Black Magician trilogy, so The Novice, The High Lord, and I've forgotten the other one. And I still think that that's probably the case, considering pretty much all of the characters in this, except for Lorcan, are from back then. Majority of them, there's not many. Like, it would have helped to have remembered that book a lot more clearly. So if this is a series that you are considering picking up, I would definitely try and do it fairly close to the others. In saying that, I remember really enjoying the Black Magician trilogy, like to the point where I would have said it was one of my favorite series from when I was reading fantasy a while back, like early 20s. But I don't actually remember in great detail what happened. So the end of this one is extremely average. I think the whole book was it's well written, has a decent plot, the world building is great. It feels like, even though there is some action and adventure, they're moving around the world, there's people trying to kill each other, there's assassination attempts, there's rogue magicians, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I didn't really feel that intense feeling. Like, I didn't have that need to continue reading, to know what happened, to like have that eagerness to continue on. I think one of the things I didn't like was that although there was multiple points of view, we were getting multiple points of view in the same chapters. It was a different paragraph and then would be in another character. And I think that it took me a while every time we changed to, one, figure out who we were, where we were, what they were doing, all of that kind of stuff. There was a bit of time jumping as well from the points of view. So stuff wouldn't necessarily have happened and then you're just told about that rather than seeing it. I didn't really like that. I don't think that it worked overly well. I think I would prefer a character's point of view for each chapter and then seeing their storyline, although then that sometimes means you do have to jump back in time for the next character. So I can understand why they've done it the way they did. I just don't think it meshed overly well. I think my other problem was with this, even though I own it physically, I did want an ebook version of it just for ease of moving around and taking it like with me if I had to go anywhere. So I did read the majority of it through the Dimmicks ebook portal. I purchased this ebook from Dimmicks, which is an Australian bookseller. It was the cheapest place I could find it. And so they have their own kind of ebook app platform. And it took me ages to figure out how to actually get this in a readable look. Like, the options were atrocious. The one thing I didn't like is it didn't tell you on there how long it was till the end of the chapter. And that was driving me insane, to the point where I did end up reading a lot of it physically, especially towards the end. But I found that even though this used to be my favorite format of a book to own, which was a small paperback when I was younger. They're absolutely atrocious now, because when you go to read it, like, there's just not enough spacing. So you have to pretty much pull the book so far back to be able to read, and the light had to be amazing. And I don't have any problems with my eyes. Like, I don't have to ever wear glasses, so I don't have any of those issues. So they're not the funnest. I think I have previously stated that B format is now probably one of my favorite formats of paperback, which are more like the size of belladonna. So like, just like, look at the difference. Like, they're up together, so that just adds that little bit more. I find trade paperbacks a bit too big, and I figure if you're just going to have it that size, you might as well just have a hardback. And I have actually been preferring buying a lot more hardbacks lately. And then now that I've got my new like Charlie and Fox book covers, I know that I can't ruin those as easy. So the formats that I read this in weren't ideal. I think that it has a huge effect on your enjoyment of the book. Though, like I said, feeling wise and the need to continue on isn't strong. So I will continue on. I'm not going to get rid of this series, but I am not also super eager. So like, I don't need to pick up the next book now. It didn't end on a cliffhanger. Like, it's a trilogy. It didn't feel like there was any emphasis on moving the reader into the next book, really. The things that have come up that will obviously be explored in the next books didn't seem urgent. It was all kind of wrapped up, and majority of it has been dealt with. So I think it's been a bit too wrapped up in this book over. This could have probably just been a standalone and that be it. I have no idea what the next book is about overly, other than I think it's called The Rogue, which would make sense within this story. But yeah, I will keep it. The next book is still in my TBR game, so it is possible that it will come up at some point and we'll continue on. Hopefully not a huge amount of time away, because like I said, the longer you leave a series, the harder it is to remember what's going on. I think this is probably about a 3.5. I may have been generous and given it a 3.5 on Goodreads and Storygraph. I can't remember. Like I said, it was a couple of days ago. I'd have to look at my stats. And that's the ambassador's mission. Okay, so just before we finish off, we'll run through some of the overall stats for April. In total, I did attempt to read 9 books this month. I DNF'd 3 of those, but it did work out to a total number of pages read of 2,548, which works out to an average of 84.93 pages per day, which isn't bad. I'm happy with that. And works out to an average page count of 283.11 pages. So not too bad. Of those 9, 1 was non-fiction and the other 8 were fantasy. So very high fantasy month for me, which I'm not complaining. It's my favorite genre. One of those I am not going to rate because it was a non-fiction. There's going to be very few actual non-fictions that I think I will ever read. The ones that I will rate will maybe the biographies and memoirs. They're probably the ones I'm more likely to read. If it's a standard run-of-the-mill non-fiction though, probably I won't be rating it. It's very subjective. It's whether you're interested in that topic. I also will not be rating the 3 DNFs. I didn't get far enough into those to warrant rating them, but I did include the pages that I read in my page count. I just wanted to include those because I did read them. I spent my time reading those pages and I think that they should count. So they are included in that page count I mentioned a second ago. Star ratings. I did have 1 5-star read this month, 3.5 stars and 1 3-star, which works out to an average star rating of 2.06. So not the best, but that was just because there was so many DNFs. And my favorite read this month was definitely Helen Shearer's A Layer of Bones. And I am absolutely loving her writing, her world, and just it's awesome. If you haven't checked her out, I definitely recommend checking her out. I am so glad that I have found her. I am really enjoying reading all of her writing. So it's been an interesting month. I did enjoy Aussie April. I do think I will consider doing this again next April, but maybe slightly different. I think it's just going to be a really good thing to continue on with if I can, although we'll see how we go. I hope that you have enjoyed this vlog. I know they are long ones. It has been extremely interesting using the spin wheel and figuring out how to do that. Screen recording on my iPad and then including that in the videos has been an interesting trial for me. So that has been fun to figure out. Frustrating at times. My computer was not cooperating for a lot of it, but it is what it is. I hope you are looking forward to whatever comes next. Please give this video a like. It really does help me out. If you'd like to see more from me, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you on board. If you have any good reads that you know of that you think that I might enjoy, please leave them in the comments down below. I would love all the recommendations I can get. I think that would just be a great opportunity to find new authors, not only for me, but for other people as well. So leave those down in the comments below. And if you don't have anything to say, but you just want me to know that you were here, please leave a little book emoji down in the comments. That would be awesome as well. And I just hope that wherever you are having a really wonderful day. And we'll see you next time. Bye.